Hi folks, hope you're all good. Just a quick video to talk about an idea I've just had to do with equality and basic income and that kind of thing. So my idea is that in my ideal country, well, or ideal world, ideal society, I would have everybody being paid the same from birth to death, and that amount being literally their share of the disposable income of the country. So we take the GDP of the country per head and then take away anything that you don't pay for with money, for example, the road system or whatever. We take away that sort of state payment, and then whatever's left, everybody gets paid weekly, let's say, from birth to death, as I said. And if somebody works a bit more than we expect them to work, let's say we expect the a sort of fit and healthy person to work 30 hours a week, for argument's sake. If somebody works 31 hours a week, then they get paid for that extra hour. Or if they work 40 hours a week, they get paid 10 extra hours. If, on the other hand, they choose to work less than this amount we expect them to work, for example, they work 20 hours a week and they're expected to work 30, then they will have to pay in that money. And that will come out of this money that they get every week for being a human being in the society. Now, if they're not so fit and healthy, their expected money will be lower. Or their expected hours of work will be lower. So if, let's say, someone not so fit and healthy, they'd be expected to work 10 hours a week. And then I get a little bit hazy on the details now because I'm just kind of working this thing out, but I think they'll get paid a bit more per hour. So it'll be if they work 11 instead of 10, then they get paid for an hour's work, but that will be more than a normal person gets paid. So roughly speaking, the expected amount of money that a not so fit and healthy person will receive will be obviously the same as a normal person, and even the sort of standard deviation of variance or whatever it is of such people would be the same in terms of money as a fit and healthy person, by means, as I said, of them getting paid more per hour. Now, also this will go with the system I've talked about with housing before, where if somebody lives in a less good than average accommodation, they will get paid money for that. They get like negative rent. Whereas if they live in a place that's a bit better, a bit fancier, a bit bigger than the average, then I suppose for their size of household, so like I guess we'd expect four people to want more space than one person, for example. But if it goes above that, then they have to sort of pay money into the system. So the average amount of rent people are paying is zero. A detail I haven't really got my head around is what happens to people who are lazing around as much as possible. So people who and living in a really nice accommodation. And we can make it so that, like, forgetting about the accommodation thing, we can make it so that somebody doesn't work at all, they still get enough money to live just about, like a basic income type thing. And that sort of makes sense to me. There will still be incentivized to work because nobody wants to live on an absolute pittance. But then, what if they combine that with living in a really posh place? They're gonna like go negative in terms of money, I suppose. That's my guess. But I have to think about that because I am quite a big fan of nobody like dying kind of thing. Well, I guess if you spend more than you've got, if you spend more than you got, I guess it's kind of fair enough. You can immediately this society will allow you to work. If we're doing my GEM system, where there are these micro communities, you can easily be offered any number of hours of work in the community. There'll always be sort of stuff to do. So we'll be sort of guaranteed work. So there's no sort of unemployment, people looking for work type thing so much anyway. And yeah, so I quite like the idea of the money coming into your account every week rather than as it is with income tax at the moment, where the income tax is taken out before you even get your pay. I know that's sort of simpler and it rules out the possibility of somebody paying what they don't have, sort of thing. But I just like the idea that the money does come in and does hit your account and then has to be taken as like this payment for not working so much or rent. Because then we can sort of work out, I guess we can work it out with the person. If they don't have enough money on that day, then they're going to have to be forced to like give it up some or work more or live in a less good place. But we don't have to like sort of not trust them at all from the start. I like the element of trust, and I like the fact that, and this is my main sort of argument for this, is that it's a default thing. So like the default situation we're all in is being completely equal to everyone else, and I think that's really good, because in our current society, like the default is to be like starving, and then you have to justify any money you get like to live or whatever. It has to be justified, and even with a sort of basic income that everybody gets, that sort of system, that it's always quite a low income. So the default thing is that you're dirt poor, but then you have to, by doing something, you have to justify being sort of equal to the average. So as I've said, I like it that you kind of, we're all sort of on the same level sort of to begin with, and then if the state wants to justify making you worse off, it has to act. And also, if there's a cock up and you don't get your, if they don't sort out this thing where you get paid or you have to pay in for your accommodation or for not working enough, then if they mess that up, then it just doesn't happen. The sort of income you get just for being a person just will, because it's so simple to administer, that will just keep rolling in. That never has to change, so that it'll be unlikely that just doesn't happen one week. So those are my thoughts. I think I could call it sort of default equality or something, or default equal income or something. I don't know. Default equality. That's the best I can come up with. Anyway, any ideas you guys have, more than welcome. All the best.